So it started, I'll roll back. So I returned from the US end of 2013. Abhiraj and Varun were contemplating a shift out of BCG, and that's when we all got into our first entrepreneurial venture. Somewhat we realized, we learned, we faltered, we gained, and all seems to have come to closure by Aprilish 2014. And that's where we all kind of met together, discussed a lot of ideas. It was a very calculative journey. It wasn't one of those where we would just stumble upon a problem in our daily lives and say, hey, that's $1 billion idea. Right? We did our analysis, realized the bigger spaces available, and we felt that we'd want to be a part of something which is very tech at its core, because that's what would scale. We'd want to be at the heart of consumer internet, and we'd want to solve a problem which actually changed, disrupted a big segment. And that all boiled down to services, because that's fundamentally what we felt very passionate about. Of course, naive thoughts then, right? It's a lot more Indian in you, right? You're thinking you're going to disrupt the way you hire, change the way the interface itself towards hiring services, disrupt the earning patterns of professionals, which lacks professionalism, transparency. So broadly, the way I would classify marketplaces would be in two. You have the informational marketplaces, especially the ones which were born a decade ago, where problems then were, there's not enough information online. How do we put it online? Those were typically the search engines, the listings, the classifieds which came up. They could not really contribute too much into the transactional journey. It was a web world. All you had was information. You could not integrate with how that transaction is happening. Then came the transactional marketplaces. E-commerce websites, you're actually doing a transaction. Uber, we would be in the transactional journey. Right? So our revenue model is where broadly two-ish models, where for a standardized service such as plumbers, carpenters, salon, we simplify the problem of the customer to the nth level, where hey, you don't have to bother with who's going to show up. We're going to make that perfect match. From the professional, we'll take commission of some sort. But for the bulk of the other services, which are more of the refined services where a consumer does want to exercise his choice. You wouldn't want to hire a wedding photographer. It's the biggest day in your life. You don't want someone assigned, you want to choose. There, we follow something which has started to be called as reverse auction, where we pass on a very well qualified request to professionals we think suitable, and then they have an option to exercise if they want to get connected with the customer. Right? And that's where we charge a minute amount for them to pay us. Right? And this works really well because this is professionals having the control on whom they want to get introduced to, instead of a bucket buying. Now I have 500 leads, I want to bombard every single customer. It helps them make a cautious call before every person they reach out to, and it helps better customer experience, because now honestly you're not getting bombarded with 40 phone calls. We started off with SAF partners who came in at the seed round. So SAF, Axel, then we have both Kunal and Rohit from Snapdeal in the personal capacity invested, and recently we were joined by Bessemer. So that's our investor set, and very closely connected, very helpful folks. So actually SAF, Axel have continuously invested in all rounds. The first round was a 1.6, then came a 10 million round. Recently we raised about 25 million combined from Bessemer, SAF, Axel. Everyone has their own style. My style cannot be, going and saying, hey, I've done this before, why don't you try it? Because there are folks who've had more experience. It's all about connecting. There's a lot of value in helping them think through the way we are thinking, the way I'm thinking. My style is a lot more communicative, a lot more, interpersonal, helping each other. You have to partially lead by example also. So I think I use my age well enough. Sometimes harder, you have to prove a point, you have to really go down and explain well. You can't just boss around, which is, I think, good. It's a good thing. Everyone should be doing that. Or paranoid parents. So it took me about 6 months to convince my parents, and I think that's the story all entrepreneurs will have. This is me moving back, a lot of big decisions happening. So yeah, it took me 6 months, came back with the project, they still felt unsettled. I think even after UrbanClap, they felt unsettled. So they're proud parents now. There has been an acceleration of the entrepreneurial spirit, right? When we hire young folks freshly out of college, don't want to do things which their parents have been doing. They don't want to be just another cog in the wheel, and you can see that fire. So I think that's the beginning of an ecosystem. An interesting thing you would start hearing last year would be young folks, entrepreneurs coming to me. The first thing they would ask or discuss would be, how do you raise funding? Right, almost as though that's the life goal. I think that's what that's the downside of a bubble, where everyone's like, money is so easy to get, you just go out there with anything, you raise money and you're set. That's something to correct, right? And that's what will get corrected, right? The main goal is really to focus on what you're disrupting on. Money is just an acceleration. You should be fine without it. Alright, it just helps you grow faster.
So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.